Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pikmin 3 commentary. This part is the last of the backtracking for the game, so normally for a game like this I like to, keep it to one part is one in-game day or what have you, but since a lot of these days I ended early after I got all of the parts, I kind of shuffled in the last like 3 or 4 days of backtrack exploration into one in-game part. There's
Yeah.
also the problem of just for this game in particular, I'm not super efficient with it. I don't remember where everything is all the time, so it's not. It took me longer than I would have liked, so I cut out a lot of the me floundering about looking for stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, you know,
That is kind of part of the reason that backtracking in a Pikmin game is a bit difficult to get right, though, because you generally players will feel like they've wasted their time if they spend an in-game day on very little progress, even if that in-game day goes by in the blink of an eye, I think.
yeah. It always feels bad when you finish the day and the ship part or whatever is right there, like right at the ship, but you just couldn't get to it in time, so you have to load up the area and then pick up the part, and then you just end the day right after. It's like, oh, I didn't want to have to go through all that, And I can definitely understand that as well. Thankfully, though, I think that's less of an issue in this game and two than in one where your days are a limited resource and you feel like you need to get the most out of them. So you would feel obliged to then like grind Pikmin for the rest of the day so you don't waste it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that in this game.
Yeah. On the flip side, though, and every day costs a bottle of juice, and even though you have a potentially huge frickin' excess of juice to collect, you don't necessarily want to use it without it being worth using.
Yeah. This is something that I would really like to know, and I wish I knew more children who played games, because I remember as a kid, games that I have no trouble beating now took forever. Like, it took me literal months to beat the first two Pokemon games. My first save file for Paper Mario 1 was 99 hours, and that's a game I can beat in 12 nowadays. So it would be interesting to know, like, if an actual 6-year-old was playing this game, do they need 30, 40, 50 days to beat it? Like, is that not an unheard of time frame?
It's hard to say because at the same time, kids have a lot more resources to look up things for games than we did.
That is also true. Yes,
That's true.
You don't have to buy.
Yeah,
Nintendo
if we're
Power now.
if we're just talking about guide-free blind games, I would say that they do need at least some of that leeway because kids aren't necessarily stupid. Well, unintelligent, I should say. They're not necessarily unintelligent, but what they are is quite a bit stupider than they will be when they're older. Their decision-making abilities aren't quite as developed.
Are you gonna cheese this? Are you gonna cheese this fruit?
Well, this is how I thought you're supposed to do it: is get up here and then throw a wing Pikmin at it.
Oh no, you're not. You're supposed to get higher up and throw yellows at it.
Oh, oh yeah, you know what? That makes sense. You're supposed to walk through
Use
there
the-
and then climb around. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have just enough leeway to get just enough wing Pikmin on there.
Yeah, like if you throw them right like this. You know what? I've been playing this game for a while. I thought that was how you were supposed to do it. Oh man, it'll be interesting trying this game out now that Pikmin 3 is going to be on the Switch. At the time of this recording, the game has not come out yet on Switch because it's coming out like Halloween.
Oh, is it?
Or close to it.
Man,
yeah.
so many games are coming out in October. Damn it!
Yeah. And then Hyrule Warriors comes out late November, and that's probably all the new games I'm going to be able to buy for myself.
I still
this
have
year.
Trails of Cold Steel 4 to look forward to at around the same time, too.
Have you already gone through 1, 2, and 3?
Just 1 and 2. I played them both back to back, over 120 hours each, and I am burned out. But I want to get Trails of Cold Steel 4 before I start Trails of Cold Steel 3, because the Trails series tends to group its arcs into duologies, where two games are that are two halves of the same arc, and 3 and 4 are definitely two halves of the same arc again. So, yeah, but I definitely want 4 because it's the Avengers Endgame of the series.
Yeah. So I definitely get that. I definitely understand that. I'm just I. It's also weird, we were talking about kids. Kids have a lot more time to play games than adults do. So but I feel like adults also can get more games than kids do, is the thing. So, because I remember as a kid, I got really attached to the few games I got, and if I happened to get a not great game, I would still play a lot of it just because it was the
You
only
you didn't
game
have
I
a
had.
choice, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I had all the time in the world to play through Shadow the fucking Hedgehog back in the day.
yeah.
Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures on Super Nintendo.
For me, I remember there was a Rugrats in Paris
Oh,
Was New
banana.
Adventures on Super Nintendo?
game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it might have been
It-
on multiple systems.
It was the
Well,
it was the not point and click game.
I was like, I was wondering if it was the same game on both systems because the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were weird about that sometimes. Yeah, I played. That was one of my first Sega Genesis games. Probably my dad got it because he was familiar with Pac-Man from his Atari 2600.
And it's not a Pac-Man game at all.
Well, it has
Um,
it has the Pac-Man games in there. You can go play them at the arcade, Yakuza style. But
A lot of Pac-Man games have unlockable Pac-Man arcade ports on there, probably because they take up half a megabyte.
I don't even think
not
you
even
had
a
to
megabyte, half a kilobyte.
I don't even think you had to unlock them. I think like just as soon as you had access to the city area, you could go to the arcade and just play them. And there was Pac-Man, there was Miss Pac-Man, there was Pac-Man Jr., which hardly ever gets a goddamn re-release. Why? I don't get it. It's one of the better ones, but still.
On N64, I had Miss Pac-Man's Maze Madness, which is a terrible game.
That is
but
no.
it hasn't.
Maze Madness is great. What are you talking about?
I hate that game.
I love that
game. Is
game.
Awful. Oh,
Fight,
Death
fight,
battle.
fight.
It's
Okay.
really, really good. Okay, yeah, I can understand why it would take some getting used to because it's an attempt to translate the maze gameplay into an adventure formula. But once you've gotten it down, it's actually really well constructed.
I remember the pace being so slow, and I just got really bored and frustrated
It's
by
not
the
that
levels.
it's not that slow. It's just you gotta figure out how to get past each section, and it can hold you up if you're stuck on a particular puzzle, but it's really down to how quickly you solve them.
Yeah, I mean, the point I was going to make though is that that game has like a excellent port of Miss Pac-Man on it, so I would just play that
Well,
on my.
I would hope it has a good port of Miss Pac-Man since it's a Miss Pac-Man game.
Yeah. Pac-Man World 2 also. You had to collect the coins in every level, and if you got a bunch of them, you could unlock some of the really obscure Pac-Man games like Pac-Mania and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I love
that game's
Pac-Mania.
also bullshit hard, and trying to collect all
It
that
is.
stuff is a pain in the ass.
Speaking of, is it Ms. Pac-Man?
It's Miss Pac-Man, yeah.
Even
Aren't
though they are married
Yeah,
and have a kid.
that's a little odd. Ms.
That child of wedlock.
Ms. is like the prefix you give to a woman. You're not sure whether they're married or not, and you don't want to assume.
Yeah.
So-
Because then you get the "don't call me ma'am" situation, which you don't want to deal with. I mean, to be fair at this point, like Pac-Man is canonically the age he is from the release of the game. So like when in Pac-Man World 3 they mentioned that, oh, this is way better than my 20th birthday or whatever. So Pac-Man is coming up on like his 50s sometime, not
No, 40.
40?
He's turning 40 this year.
He's turning 40 this year, so damn, like
Yeah.
Pac-Man's gonna start buying like a red Corvette and driving around with the
Pac-Man,
The midlife crisis.
Pac-Man Jr. is going to start to enter high school, and
Yeah, he doesn't know how to connect with him. He tries to bring up all these 80s movies references who Pac-Man Jr. just doesn't get.
Not Pac-Man, Pac-Dude.
I'm just waiting for Louis to float into someone's head by accident. Just thunk.
Food. He also does not know how to say anything other than just the word food, which I think works because he's a simpleton, to put it
Yeah.
nicely.
Okay.
Oh, I remember this day took me a really, really long time to do. I re-recorded it several times because I didn't want to. This was something we were talking about earlier. I didn't want to have to do another day, but I was just barely not getting everything done in time, and I was so. This is the thing about being lazy. It's not about doing it with less work. It's about doing it the way you want to do it. So I have many times done more work in order to be lazy. And I do not think that there is a contradiction there.
It sort of depends. I mean, Bill Gates said that he would put the most complicated tasks to his more lazy developers, not because they wouldn't do the job, is that they would find the way to do the job most efficiently so they wouldn't have to work.
Well, you know, innovation comes from weird places sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that I have many a time, like, reached over really, really far and nearly sprained my back by trying to reach for the remote, as opposed to doing the easier thing, which would have been
Just get up and take a step or two.
grabbing it. Yeah. But again, being lazy isn't about doing less work, it's about working less. Yes, that statement makes sense to me, goddammit.
You might be willing to do a lot more work in the beginning if it means that you have an easier ride later on.
Well, no, in that case, it's about... At that point, maybe it's more about being stubborn than lazy, in that I started doing it this way, and I'm going to end doing it this way, goddammit. Also, I believe this is the only area in the game where there are bulb bears, which are the black bulb orbs, and they are kind of in their Pikmin 2 state where they'll wander around. But thankfully, they took out the bullshit stuff from Pikmin 2. Where
You mean where they revive?
Where they regenerate health. Fuck that. That's one of my least favorite aspects of that game. It makes many of the late game areas just miserable to play, because that game incentivizes you in the dungeons to tiptoe through as slowly as possible, and then suddenly you have to rush in order to get those things back in time, and it's God, I do not like that they did that, and I'm glad that they just took that mechanic out.
Yeah, that seems counterintuitive.
They took out a lot of the enemies from Pikmin 2 in this, actually.
It's like they tried to experiment with what Pikmin gameplay would be like without a time limit, and some of the things that they did might have been good, other things not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with them experimenting on that kind of stuff, and ultimately I think that they found how that gameplay works really well. I don't show any of it because it's not part of the story, but the mission mode in this game is Pikmin 2 style dungeons, but made into an arcade experience where you try to get everything on the floor as fast as possible.
Oh.
And I think it works really, really well, because instead of being a situation where what you're incentivized to do is walk really, really slowly around the floor and then go through and very, very, very carefully defeat all of the different enemies around and then collect all of the treasure thereafter, making it take a really long time. You're incentivized to plan out a strategy and try to efficiently execute on it, and that I find much more fun.
When it comes to RTS gameplay, a lot of the incentive to get better at decision making comes from time pressure, and Pikmin having a running clock for your decision making is pretty much the entire source of challenge, because if you have the time to do everything slowly and meticulously, the decisions become a lot easier and simpler. There is a very, very easy solution to pretty much every problem if you're willing to take a lot of time to do it. But
yeah, that's what makes turn-based and real-time games different.
That's why Final Fantasy introduced the ATB in the first place.
Yeah, and I think that's also why those games generally are a lot easier, but you're also not playing those particular Final Fantasy games because they're super hard. I guess besides Final Fantasy V, you're playing them more because it's almost a feeling like an action RPG when you're playing them. You know, it's more about the fun of the ride as opposed to it being particularly challenging. What was I trying to say? Yeah, the time pressure, it's just, most real-time strategy games are are multiplayer focused. Like there are single player campaigns to stuff like StarCraft and Age of Empires, but those usually aren't the main focus. It's more about the multiplayer. So the time pressure is more about I have to do this quickly because if I don't, I will fall behind my opponent and I will not be able to.
They're basically digital versions of Risk.
Pretty much, yeah. Only good because Risk sucks. Fuck that game. Like, has anybody ever actually finished a game of Risk? I certainly haven't, because 3 hours later we get bored.
I've never finished a game of Monopoly.
Okay, I finished a game of Monopoly, but out of spite and not because I was having fun.
We stopped. We played a game of. I don't remember what version of Risk it was, but we stopped after like 6 hours.
6? Oh god! You see, I've never gone more than 2.
You don't. The thing about board games is that you can just leave them on the table and pick them up later.
Yeah, which you are encouraged to do with Risk, because there's like there's a notepad that you use to like mark progression, and basically for like territories and all that sort of shit.
Nowadays what you do is you just take a picture of what the board is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but to be
Fucking
fair
millennials.
though,
have to have everything handed to you.
especially when you're a kid, the mood for a board game is different. Kind of feeling. It's like, okay, I'm
agree.
in with the family. It's raining out. We're gonna have a nice night playing board games with the family. It's not like the feeling I'm getting more from playing Risk and keeping the board out is like a jigsaw puzzle, where you go at it bit at a time. And that's harder to do when you're like a family of 5 playing a game of Risk, because all 5 of you need to be there.
For as much as they want to market Risk as a family game, it's a lot closer to one of those games that you play with a group of board gaming enthusiasts.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know a group of board gaming nerds that would play
none of
Risk.
Us do. None of us do. I know, but still, it's one of those really involved games that you play with people who are really into tabletop gaming as a general hobby. So.
Yeah, but those kind of people are the more likely to play the obscure board game that they found.
Well, nowadays,
I really would like to be able to board game more, in a world where there is no pandemic. But I think the thing is that the price of a board game is relatively similar to the price of a video game. And unfortunately, video games have the plus side of being able to play them without needing other people there. So it just becomes a lot harder.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but, I miss communication with real people.
They take up a lot more space, they take up more setup time, and then if you don't have enough people to play them with enough of the time, you don't get quite as much of a return on your investment. It's a hard hobby to get into.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like trading card games have a similar problem, but there generally are better digital versions of those games that you can at the very least get your kicks in until you wait for a situation like the one we're in to be over. So you can still play the game effectively.
That, and if it's one of the popular ones, you can usually go out to a game shop and find someone who wants to play it. A little bit difficult to find someone who wants to play a specific board game with you.
Yeah. And, even nowadays, I know a lot of people are playing, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering over webcam, which is also, interesting. I don't think you could play a board game over webcam unless if both of you have a board set up.
It depends on which board game.
I'm struggling to think of a board game you could play over webcam. Even something as simple as Monopoly, I feel like would be hard. But then again, that's also playing Monopoly, which I recommend of no one.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be playing Monopoly online, you might as well just get a video game version of it.
Oh yeah, that's also... Apparently the video game, the Uno on Switch is really good for some reason.
Does it come with the anime openings from the Saturn versions?
Doesn't... What? Wait, are you joking? Or is that...
No, they're like Saturn and Dreamcast, Uno games and all that. And they have those silly anime intros
Did you ever
and all
see
that.
the Uno one?
I've never... Hold on. Let me...
Just look up Uno Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I might have to edit this in as I watch it.
Speaking of Risk, though, one of the most common sights I had in my house during the PS1 days was my stepfather playing PS1 Risk.
Wait a minute. Is that... There are
There are lots of them, yeah.
Yeah, but this is there are Vine skits about the
Yeah.
Uno anime.
He just drew a draw 4 card. That lets him draw four cards.
Fool! Little do they know, I have the wild card. Oh my god, this is the 90th thing I've ever seen. Oh, what? All the cards are floating behind him. What the hell? Oh, and they even have like the. Oh my god.
You know you're expected to edit this in front of the video.
Yeah, I know, and I'm gonna have to now.
What am I looking
What?
at? What should I be looking at? Do I even get to see it?
No, not until the part's
No.
up.
Use your imagination.
Wait, they made a giraffe that has a 6 on it? I'm so confused. Why is this a thing?
Uno for Momo.
That
Uno
SD
for
card doesn't work
Page
anymore.
21.
Does Russ have it, John?
What? Uno?
Uno on Saturn?
I was just talking the card game.
Oh, the card game.
The Saturn.
Oh,
But maybe Russ does have it. I don't know how.
oh.
Because you know if he has it, we're gonna have to do it.
He likely does.
I mean, I would totally be down for playing. I don't know how we would record it. Maybe we would just.
Fucking obscure thing we were doing BrainScratch. Uno on Saturn.
Like, I mean, we could also just do it for fun as play board games or card games whenever.
No, but I feel it would be a very BrainScratch thing if we played Uno on Saturn.
We could play Uno normally like any normal people, but no, we're BrainScratch. We have to play it on Saturn.
Oh, okay, so update. Catherine says that if you only ate funguses, you would be a fungivore.
Okay, is that like the scientific term, or?
Keep your kinks away
Let me find out. Google.
from- Oh, Christ. Save that answer for next part.
I think I asked
Oh,
her
no,
like
we
2
still got
parts
3
ago.
minutes, so never mind.
It
Look
is
it
a
up.
real
We still got
term.
3
It
minutes.
is a fungivore. Fungivore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Catherine.
She's not even a biologist, she's a chemist. I don't know if we can even officially trust her science cred
Well,
on this
well,
one.
in this case, it happens that she's right.
Okay. I mean, that's true.
All right. Well, in any
Yeah.
case,
Now we have more delicious fruit juicing.
citrus lump. That is pretty much what an orange is, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh man, I miss orange juice. I haven't had it in forever. Yeah, this is another reason why we can't trust Catherine's opinions on these things. She doesn't like juice of any variety, which means that she is a fake person and not real. There's also a lot of really obscure fruit in this game too, like
They have like
that
dragon fruit, yeah.
well, not even dragon fruit. There's a bunch of varieties of fruit I've never heard of in my life. Which I mean, I guess that makes sense because.
Well, they might be more native to Asian
I mean,
areas.
to be fair,
Yeah.
there are people who don't seem to like sweet drinks in general.
Yeah, I mean that is fair, but
I feel
She-
like it's less common not to like sweet drinks in general because we're so used to soda nowadays, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But soda and juice also have a very different taste.
Yeah,
to them.
I hate soda.
Yeah, I mean, I drink too much soda. First, like, that's a problem I have. I drink way too much of it, and it's terrible for you.
Ooh, soda? You, soda.
Yeah, I think the thing is that juice is just really expensive, and you drink it faster than you drink soda, so it's gone quicker.
well, proper juice is expensive, but you can get stuff that tastes like juice and just isn't half as healthy for pretty cheap.
Yeah, but then that's at that point, why not just buy soda?
Because
No.
you like the juice.
The only thing that reminds me of is one of the funnier Malcolm in the Middle jokes where Dewey's drinking like all the OJ, and Hal's like, "Careful with that, Dewey. That stuff doesn't grow on trees." Wait a second. Yes, it does. So why is it so damn expensive?
Money grows on trees, and it's the most expensive thing there is. Did you know that $1 costs a whole dollar? That's the most it could possibly cost.
Wait.
We actually have a little bit of a juice buffer, she says. We have 77 bottles of the stuff.
3. Oh no, now it's 78. Yeah.
Yeah, 70, yeah. Yeah, but we also forget that we also have to feed Louis. And we also have to go like 16 million light years back home, which is going to be a decent trip.
Well, you mean you could stop on the space Wawa on the way home?
I mean, if Kopai's problems could be solved just by stopping by the space Wawa, they wouldn't have to go to another planet to find food.
Now I'm picturing them stopping by the Wawa Deli and getting a fruit hoagie.
What, you just like put a banana in between 2 slices of bread and chomp into it?
I suppose.
The banana is the bread.
Oh, it's banana.
I mean,
bread.
you can make
is
banana.
it
I mean, there is
bread,
banana
or
bread.
is it like a Is it like peanut butter in between two bananas?
Yeah, I've actually done it before.
Wait, you've put peanut butter between two whole
I've
bananas?
sliced a banana vertically and put peanut butter in between
Banana
both
and peanut butter does
slices.
go together well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, was it good?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Okay, in the next part, we start the final area of the game. Bye, everyone.